Hello and welcome to Living with the Landspeeder, Chapter 10, where we StarWarsify Disney parks one attraction at a time. And tonight is going to be a very special night. Not only are we doing Toy Story Mania, but we are joined by, I will say it, probably one of my favorite cast members of the Disney parks, if not my favorite. I have a cousin that works there, so I sort of have to be like, well, she's my favorite. But we're joined by Mark Daniel tonight. Mark, how you doing tonight? We're so happy.
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for having me, and I'm very honored to be here on episode 10.
Yes.
Living with the Landspeeder, which is an amazing name, by the way. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. We love. We've only been doing it for 10 episodes, but we've loved every moment of it. Taking because we love Disney parks, but we also love Star Wars. So just putting them together is a magical experience. But Mark, you have been how long? Because I looked it up, but I didn't see how long have you actually been with the Disney company?
Let's see here. Since I'm in my office, let's see here. I've just celebrated my 30 year.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
With Jimmy the Cricket. 30 years.
So cool.
With the Walt Disney Company.
Very cool.
Yes,
that's amazing.
My service award there.
If you don't mind me asking, what was your first position at the Disney 30 years ago?
Yeah. So a lot of people can go back. If you go back, well, I really started back in 1991. So I was part-time. So I've been full-time at Disney for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So my first job was I was in high school still, and I was a canopy carrier in a parade called the Electric Light Parade.
Oh, cool.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah. So it was like, I don't know if you'll remember this. There was a canopy of lights that was carried by I was one of the canopy carriers, and there were dancers in beautiful gowns, and they were all illuminated, and they would dance under this lit canopy that we would carry down the parade route.
Now, you know, it'd be crazy. I still have our old home movies of that parade. If I pull those up and see you, that's gonna be huge.
That would be awesome, because I'd love it. I would love it. You know, back then, I tried to take a picture of myself once, and it didn't. You know, back then, I'm talking about
wind up cameras.
Cameras weren't really. There was no such thing.
Wind it.
You have to So I tried to take a picture of myself before selfie was invented. It didn't come out good, but
I'm gonna check because I have all those at my house here.
Well, how old would you be then, Derek?
Well, how long were you in the parade?
I was in the parade. So I was in the parade in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. And I was in the parade until it went away. So
wow.
In the 90s, and I don't remember the dates, I apologize, but I will tell you for a fact that I was in the Electric Light Parade, and then it went away and they brought in Spectral Magic Parade. Yeah. So the Electric Light Parade went back to Disneyland, I believe. Yep. And we had Spectral Magic. So I did both of those parades. So I did the ending of Electric Light Parade into Spectral Magic Parade.
And so I'll have both of those videos too. So I would have had like 1993, 97, 98, which would have been the other show. So I'll look. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you'd probably... There's a good chance I could be in the Electric Light Parade. You would see me and you recognize me. But by the time I got into Spectral Magic Parade, I became a character performer. So,
cool.
Yeah, so you would not have, you wouldn't see me. I'd see you.
So you were a friend of somebody then.
Yeah. But I was myself as a canopy carrier. We just wore like these big white hats with feathers in them. We had white knickers and like shoes with big buckles on them.
Oh, I remember those.
And a big billowy piratey shirt. And so we weren't lit up, actually. We just like carried the canopy, and it was about the canopy and the dancers. It wasn't about us.
Yeah, that's really cool. That kind of made my night, because I'm like, now the childhood memories are flooding in.
Oh, that's awesome.
We took my grandmother, and she was in probably at that time, late 80s, early 90s, like years old. She'd never been to Disney, and she came down, and we went to Ohana's, and we didn't have tickets for her for the park, but we went around on the monorail.
Okay.
And we went to the guest services thinking they wouldn't do anything. And we're like, she's 90 years old. Is there any way we could just take her in to see the nighttime parade? And they were like, you know what? Come on in. And they let her come in her wheelchair. She sat there on Main Street. She'd never been to Disney parks before, and she watched the electric parade. Nice. And I've never seen her happier in her life. The smile on her face. She thought it was the most magical experience she'd ever seen. And that was her Disney, because that's the only thing that she really did.
Oh, wow.
And it was just amazing. So yeah, that touches my heart that you're a part of that. You were in that parade. Yeah, she loved it. She loved it. She thought it was just the best thing in the world.
First of all, that's so cool too. I mean, I want to give a shout out to the cast members that you went to speak to, and they said, "Yeah, bring her in." First of all, before you even get to the parade, there's magic happening already.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I love the Disney parks, is just because of the cast members and the magic and seeing everything that you've done over the years has been amazing. You've done so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to share with you a moment with Spectral Magic of my memory.
Okay.
I didn't grow up with Disney. I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. And I came over here when I was about 12. I lived in Tampa. So I didn't grow up with Disney in my backyard or anything like that. But when I was in elementary school, my aunt took my cousins and I to Magic Kingdom. And didn't really know about Disney World and the theme parks or anything like that. My aunt was from America. My cousins lived in America, but I didn't. So they were excited, like, we're going to Disney World. I was like, okay, cool. So I went. I remember it was a lot going on. I do remember the Haunted Mansion. And I remember I watched the parade at night. And so did Walt Disney World. I remember riding the Haunted Mansion and being scared, because it was really because I'd never been in a haunted house that big before, little Halloween things, of course. But, think about it. Like, Haunted Mansion, like, if you don't know it, it's a house. You go into a house. And if you're a kid and you just did Halloween stuff back in the 90s, you just had these little places, little parts of the mall that were turned into little scare places,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with all those amazing effects and the mirror effect when you're in the Doom buggy and the ghosts are riding with you and everything. But so fast forward to my job at Disney, and I training in the Electric Light Parade, ELP we called it. And so they had to train us how to walk with the canopy, because you have to walk a certain way. It's kind of like a non-military march. You just kind of kick your foot, but everybody tries to be on the same foot so you can carry it with the least amount of stress on your back. And so we were backstage, and they were saying they showed us how to put on the harness. We picked up the canopy. There was like 6 poles, and you put those poles in a harness, kind of like you're carrying a flag and like a color guard. So we put them in the loop, and they pulled one of the floats out because we had to follow it. We had to learn how to walk with the float. So the float that came out, it's daytime. We're in the parking lot backstage where all the floats are stored. And this little turtle comes out, right? So if you remember, they had these little, like they had a snail and a turtle.
Yeah.
The little turtle comes out with his little glasses on. And it comes out, and they say, okay, you're going to follow it. And it's daytime, so there's no lights on. And they turn it on. And when I heard the music, it went boom, 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 boom. And it like totally, like, I had this moment of just like, it's like I heard that music when I was in the park. When I came for the first time, I saw that parade, and I didn't realize it until I heard the music coming out of that turtle. And I just had that moment, when the camera zooms in and it's like you move, but the background doesn't. Like, I had that moment, and I'm telling everybody, whoa, I saw this parade. Wait a minute. This is that parade. And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, no, I saw this parade. And everyone's like, yeah, we all saw it. What are you talking about? So, for me personally, it was that moment where I was just like, whoa, that's the first time I had a moment
that's really
where
cool.
I was like, I'm part of something that can be people's memories, can be something to remember. Like you said, what you had with your grandmother, So that was so I had a moment like that too, and I did the parade.
That's awesome.
That's
so
cool.
Really cool.
Man, if we don't even theme anything, this is a great episode.
Yeah. So you've done lots of different things in the Disney parks, and at some point you have gotten to experience working in Galaxy's Edge. I'm going to sort of segue it to move it into Star Wars. How did that come about? What was your first thing for Galaxy's Edge, and how have you enjoyed your time there?
Oh my goodness, I've loved my time at Galaxy's Edge. It's a one of a kind place. But I want to jump back really quick because I want to give a shout out to Star Wars weekends.
Oh yes, of course.
So yeah, so I'm gonna just go back in time. I was able to do the first ever Star Wars weekends at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and this was it was so much fun doing the first ever Star Wars weekends. I'll tell a really quick, small story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Star Wars
Yeah, please do.
Star Wars weekends is really cool because that's the first time I got to know the 501st. And if you listeners, I'm sure you're all Star Wars fans, so you all know 501st, and all your fans know 501st. But I'll just say it just in case they don't. It's a voluntary group of people that they get approval to portray. A lot of times they're stormtroopers, but they can be any character from the Star Wars universe. And they would come and be a part of the day parade at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So the main characters, the main Star Wars characters was supplied by Disney, but the 501st would supply a lot of the stormtroopers and Tusken Raiders and different things like that. So I was able to do the first ever Star Wars weekends. And who was there? I can't remember who was there, but it was fun because the stars of Star Wars, there was not supposed to be any more Star Wars back then, right? Star Wars was something that was done, so these people had moved on. Some of them remain actors, like Mark Hamill stayed doing voiceover work and in animation, but most people, they were doing other things, right? Maybe other movies and such like that. So the cool thing is, they weren't megastars, so we just sat in the break room and talked to them. I sat and talked to Jeremy Bullock and Peter Mayhew, Mark Hamill, Billy D. Williams. We just hung out, so it was really cool.
That's cool.
David Prowse, getting to meet the guy who was in the suit, who played physically Darth Vader. So that was a lot of fun. So that was my first experience with Star Wars. And jump to Galaxy's Edge when they announced that they're going to do a new expansion of Disney's Hollywood Studios and make something very unique where you get to live your own story and bring it to life as much as they can. I remember I auditioned for, they had a role called, it was a role called a Kembe. Yes. It was a story of, and this was an actor, and they were looking for people that, you would help lead the building of a lightsaber. And I remember going and auditioning for it and just being really excited because whatever it was, I just wanted to be a part of Galaxy's Edge. And I used to do a show called Lights, Motors, Action. And Lights, Motors, Action, you remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
All right. That was a lot. That was a fun show. That was a show nothing like, it came from France. So again, I know your viewers know this. But if you don't, Light and Motors Action is a car stunt show. We have a stunt show, which is the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, which is mostly physical stunts of people running around and jumping and punching and kicking. But we had a show that came over from France called Lights Motors Action, which was a stunt show involving vehicles. So I was a part of that show. I played the director in that show, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. But when that show closed and they were bringing in Galaxy's Edge, because I still worked at Epic and I was still driving on this little backstage road, I got to see them dismantle Lights, Motors, Action and build Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So couldn't really see it, but you can see things coming up. And I remember at this point in time, Rogue One had come out, and I loved Rogue One. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars film, and my second favorite. Oh yeah, second favorite. What's your first, Derek?
Empire.
Empire. Okay,
it's Empire. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, I know people are like, what are you talking about? I know that Rogue One is good because of Empire and because of A New Hope. Rogue One is good because of Star Wars, right? But I think that when Rogue One came out, that really spoke to me. Like I was really like enjoying it. It's what it really was visceral for me. It really moved me emotionally. So it's my favorite Star Wars, and of course, Andor is my favorite series. But there was a moment where I could see being close backstage, parts of Galaxy's Edge being built. And I remember the moment I'd seen Rogue One and I loved it and I'd watched it many times. And what I loved about Rogue One was it was the first time I was able to see the grittiness of Star Wars. Like, you're not just seeing the ships and the Millennium Falcon, which is old and beat up, or the cleanliness of the Empire, or even Tatooine, Mos Eisley. You see these things, but Rogue One like puts you could see textures, right? Yeah. You could see buildings and everything like that. And I remember loving that in Rogue One. And I remember the moment when I looked at what was coming up, and I looked at some of the spires and some of the textures of the wall and the domed buildings, and I said to myself, it looks like Rogue One. Like, I got so excited because it looked like what I saw in Rogue One. And you could see one ship, and it was the ship that's on Docking Bay 7, which is Cookie's ship. Mm-hmm. And they were like building that. So I got to see them install that and put it in and start, it was mostly painted, but then they start lighting it up so you can see like the engines glowing and stuff. And so just watching the whole process and then getting to open it. Not only that, but I got to live stream the grand opening. I hosted the live stream for the grand opening of Galaxy's Edge.
I remember that, yeah.
So that was an honor. I also got to live stream like some sneak peeks into Galaxy's Edge so guests can see. But what was really cool is I was able to go, because Galaxy's Edge opened first in Disneyland. So I got to actually go to Disneyland on my own accord and check out Galaxy's Edge and check out the show that I was learning, which was really cool. So
I went to opening weekend at both parks. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we were there when you were here in Orlando. I was with you.
Nice.
So
yes, I have 4 Savi's lightsabers. Been blessed to get them. And
2.
Each time that I've gone, I've hoped, because I knew that you were in there sometimes, that I've always wondered, maybe Mark will be in there. But it's never worked out.
No, okay.
I don't think I can spend any more money on Savis.
You might be in trouble.
Yeah, just keep trying.
Keep rolling that dice.
I gotta go back.
Last time we were there, when Ryan and I were at Disney together, he kept trying to get me to buy all these lightsabers. You need that one. You need that one. You need that. Yeah, well, as you can my see, money. All right.
Yeah, I make kyber crystals, so it's made me some money. So, but
you can write it off on your taxes.
Oh, so I can keep buying. I'll tell my wife.
Yeah, it's a business expense.
It's product development.
I don't have any of the new ones.
Research.
You did you did get to interact. This is a jump to something else, but with Mark at the parks, we saw you on a video giving a secret about the Muppets.
Oh yeah. You came to my Muppets meetup.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Ryan came to my Muppets meetup, which it was something I always wanted to do, because people would always ask me like, hey, are you I would love to do a tour with you. And of course I can't do that really. So I was like, if I just did it on my own time, and I said, nobody would show up. I don't think anybody would come. And I said, I had only planned for like 5 people to show up. And it was really
that was really fun.
And I also did, I was also a performer at Muppets 3D. So I did a lot of shows at the parks.
Yeah.
The most of my blood, sweat, and tears goes into the studios. And kind of like, thanks for bringing up my secrets. I like to tell my nerd facts, which are Disney nerd facts. And most of them are steeped in story that the Imagineers have created, but not just the Imagineers, but also Disney show directors when they create shows. I've been involved in so many shows. I know a lot of the backstory for certain things. And sometimes that backstory starts to disappear because they're going with a new focus. But some of those elements are still in the park that you can see. So I really tried to share that, because they're still there. It's still part of the history of the theme parks and the work the creative people did, whether it be Imagineer, engineering, or show directors or show writers. Those stories are still there. So I try to pull back the curtain, but not the real curtain, but the curtain that's still part of the show. Because then, there's 2 elements, right? Especially the early days of Disney's Hollywood Studios was about peeling back the curtain. For instance, a good example of when you go to Star Tours and you see the big AT, when from one side, it looks real. When you go on the other side, it's not. You see the lights and everything. And that was supposed to be that way. Star Tours is inside of a soundstage, right? and it's supposed to be like, oh, we're making the film. You see half of the Ewok village, and you see the rest of the force is painted on the wall, but then the trees stop because that's how they would film, right? Everything else would be CGI or a matte painting, so that's what Studios was about. But when you go to Galaxy's Edge, they don't do that anymore. It's about what they call the immersive experience. So those elements are still there, but I just like to point them out and share them.
That's the Disney difference, right? Too. I mean, not to be cheesy or whatever, but that's why we love it, and why I guess some people don't see it that way because they don't know about those stories, right? They don't see that, and they're like, "Why do you love it so much?" And it's like it's those little details, it's those stories, it's those hidden things, magic. Or just the magic there that keeps us going back and wanting to know more and wanting to see more and be part of that. So.
I think that's and I think that's what's really cool. I think now everything is like nothing wrong with it, but everything is CGI, and I won't get into AI, but let's just talk about the last right? Amazing CGI when you look at Marvel and everything, and it all looks amazing. But there's something about that, and I don't know if any of you are computer programmers or computer designers or graphic designers, but I know that they made Iron Man look good and they made the Hulk look good, but that's still somebody behind a computer animating it. But sometimes when you see a team of people like creating a character and they have to physically pour the mold and then put the servos in them, and then somebody's moving all the remote controls and the other people are puppeteering it, all those things, like you get to see. To me, that's also magic, right?
Sure.
And that's the magic. I appreciate it and I like it because I grew up with that. But the people now, there's nothing wrong with it. That's why I like to see those things, because I grew up on those things. I grew up on the practical effects and how does it work, and you see everybody working and different things like that. Where some people grow up on the CGI, which is good too, because we don't even know what's real anymore.
That's true.
But at the end of the day, let's say a movie was all CGI, you can't really walk through the studio and look at stuff. It's just all in the computer on a hard drive. But when you can walk through and look at props from films, how cool is it to see, that's the props from Back to the Future. That's the props from Jaws. That's from Star Wars, Those things have a life of their own. And, it's fun to see.
Yeah. So did you get the chance to work on the Star Cruiser at all?
Yes, I had the honor of being the pre-show for the Star Cruiser.
That's right. Yes, because I got to go. I was one of the few last ones that got to go. And I remember that because I was there, and because I was like I went in costume. I was immersing myself, and then I saw you on the screen, and I'm like, "Hey, it's Mark."
Oh yeah. How do you know Ryan went on the Star Cruiser? Because he'll tell you.
Because this is what I tell people. I say it is one of the greatest experiences I've ever been a part of. Like, got to do. It was fantastic. Loved every moment of it, and I'm so sad that it's going away. But it was it was just amazing, and I'm glad that you got to be a part of it. Did you get to go on it just as yourself? And
no, I didn't get to go. Well, I missed. I wasn't able to go for the preview because they did a preview for the media and people who worked on it, and I missed that moment, and I still regret it. But I was on it for filming. I got to see it like in what they call B mode, where it's not. I don't even think that's the right term, but it wasn't in show mode when I saw it, because we were like filming a lot. I was there when they were filming. So what I'm part of is the pre-show and the safety video. So they're actors in the safety video telling you, explaining when it's an in-story emergency and if there's a real emergency, because it's very immersive. So you have to make that distinction. And I was honored when they picked me to be in the pre-show, and it was, when they asked me to do it, I was like, great. It was like a secret. I couldn't say anything, and I had to keep it quiet for a very long time. And it was really cool because the Imagineering team, Corey and Scott Throwbridge, they said, and I forget. I know her last name is Morrow, but I forget her first name. They said, you know, we were thinking who could do this, and then we were like, Mark can do it. And so if people don't know, but for a long time I was the main stage host for Star Wars Celebration. So I've had and also I work at Lucasfilm during their picnic. I actually go to Lucasfilm. I get to sleep there overnight.
Oh wow!
So once in a lifetime thing. So a lot of the Star Wars fans know me as, you know, as the entertainer that when they go to Star Wars events, I'm there. We're having a good time. You know, and it came so much full circle of doing the first ever Star Wars weekends, and then doing we did Galactic Nights. I did that, and then I was doing Star Wars Celebration, and then getting to work because of David Collins getting me to work at Lucasfilm, and then being on the Halcyon was really cool. And they have that reaction that you had, Ryan. When I come on, I go, welcome to the Galactic Star Cruiser. So many people go, oh, it's Mark. And they say it's the good segue between you leaving the real world and putting you into the Star Wars world. They're like, when they see me, they go, oh, okay, this is cool. That's the Star Wars guy. He's going, okay, we're going over this way, you know?
Yeah.
So when they told me that, when they thought of me, they're like, it's for Mark. Mark should do it. I was very honored. So that's cool. A nice feather in my cap. I'm sorry it is going to go away, but I'm glad that I got to be a part of it, and you got to be a part of it, and a lot of guests got to be a part of it. Or if you weren't a part of it, it did exist, and there was a place where you could play Star Wars overnight.
Yeah.
And people talk about it, and it's really good. The actors, a lot of my friends are on the Star Cruiser as performers and crew members, and they give it their heart and soul, man. It's a lot of work, but they make it work. And Ryan, you experienced it. So
they were fantastic. And I took a bunch of my kyber crystals. I made special ones just for the Star Cruiser to hand out to all the actors and the cast members, and just telling them how thankful that I was for what they did, because they allowed us to play Star Wars for a couple of days, and it was amazing. And I wish I could do it again. A quick shout out to some of my friends, the Heroes of the Halcyon podcast. They are doing a party the 30th of August to celebrate the Halcyon. It's a private event. You can buy tickets for it. More tickets go on sale this Friday at Planet Hollywood. They've rented out a big room. And they're doing a lot of the cast, I think, are going to be there.
Okay.
So yeah, you might want to check that out. I can send you the info on that. But I'm hoping I can somehow get a really cheap plane ticket and fly down for it, because I've done a lot of stuff with them. We did some Make-A-Wish stuff together, and we've done some podcasts together. So I'm hoping I can fly down just for the party and hang out with everybody from the Halcyon. So
but they should have me there. You know what? They should have me welcoming people.
Yes.
Because you know what? It's such an incredible experience that people forget that I'm part of it. They see me go, yeah, it's Mark. And I went over there like, oh, that was awesome. Mark was in there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll get you guys in contact with each other, because I'm sure they would love it. They're great people. Great people. Cool. Well, I guess we should do some Toy Story Mania. Yeah. Good. Mark, I could talk to you literally all night long about and hear your stories, because they're all amazing. But I guess we should StarWarsify a ride.
StarWarsify a ride.
Yeah, I guess we should. So tonight we are doing Toy Story Mania. And for the first-time listeners, or those who have listened before, how this works is we take an attraction at Disney World. Right now we're just doing Walt Disney World, one of the theme parks, something in the area. And we take it and we Star Warsify it. So what does that mean? That means we take the ride and we don't gut it. We don't level it. We just say, how can we make this ride or attraction Star Wars themed? So that's what we're going to do tonight. I think am I going to start tonight?
You're starting tonight.
I'll start tonight.
You, buddy.
All me. All right. So when I think of Toy Story Land, Toy Story Mania, I think of my childhood, because of all the toys. And I wanted to figure out a way to keep that. So as I was thinking, I remember this that I have. If you're watching, you can see this. This right here is full of the Kenner.
It's the Darth Vader action figure
Action figure
carrier.
So if you're just listening, you can't see it.
Yeah.
This is all my Star Wars action figures from when I was a kid. All the original ones.
Ooh.
Some of them are in better shape than others because as a child I played with them. I did not keep them in the packages because I didn't know any better. No.
No, you did know better. You
I
played with
I did know
toys.
better. I played with them, and
My
this is
God.
Toys are to play with, man.
yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, I wish I had some of these in the package because it could probably pay off my house now.
That's right.
But you know, that is what it is. But this is my Darth Vader case. So I thought, why not turn Toy Story Mania into a vintage Kenner?
Sponsored by Kenner,
right?
right?
Sponsored. So this is
cool.
toy.
All right, I
this
like
is
this.
yeah. Hold on, I got my notes right here. To make sure that
I like this a lot already. This is good. This is
This
good.
is the Star Wars Blaster Challenge sponsored by Kenner because Disney Parks
Brought to you by.
Yeah, brought to you
Yes,
by,
brought to you by.
by Kenner. So the land is still going to be toys. This is going to be Star Wars toys. So the inside is all going to be decorated with like vintage Kenner boxes, packaging, of course, and there's going to be the big famous empty box early bird certificate box sitting, you know, in there. So it's going to look sort of like it is, but it's all going to be Star Wars, old Star Wars toys in the line going through. And then, of course, in the ride, you have Mr. Potato Head. So we have to have somebody there. And I couldn't think of two better droids than the original Kenner C-3PO and R2-D2. Right there, they're going to be where Mr. Potato Head is, and they're going to be bantering back and forth, making jokes. R2-D2 will be beeping probably something inappropriate that C-3PO will have to tell him, no, this is a family attraction. We'll venture on until we get to the ride vehicles, and the ride vehicles are, of course, going to be the troop transport, the Kenner troop transport that was never in the movies. Back then, it's in the Mandalorian now, but it was a Kenner's vintage toy that they brought out. The troop transport actually sort of looks like the ride vehicles a little bit that are there now, if you look at them, right? So they'll be side by side, just like the transport, back to back. And then your blasters in your vehicle are, of course, going to be the vintage Kenner DL-44, the Han Solo blaster, and the EL-11 Stormtrooper blaster. So you may have to ride it a couple of times to get the different blasters. You know, make it make you ride it again. So the first room you approach, I'm just going to go through the rooms real fast. The first room you approach is you're going to have the target practice, just like in the regular ride, but this time it's going to be the combat training remote, like you see in New Hope that Luke is training with. So that's going to be on the screen. You're going to be blasting it, just like they do the pie scene or the bullseye scene in the actual ride. And then it'll spin you around. Of course, there'll be all the vintage Kenner stuff all over the walls and the toys, just like in the ride. The room 2 is going to be the hallway scene from New Hope with the stormtroopers. Everything is going to be the Kenner toys. So when those doors open, it's going to be the Kenner toy stormtroopers coming out at you. It's going to be Kenner Darth Vader with his weird, toothpick lightsaber.
It comes out that way.
Yeah, just comes out that's. I mean, the whole ride is going to be everything on the screens is going to be the Kenner vintage toys. So that's going to be your first room where you're shooting stormtroopers, trying to shoot Darth Vader just to rack up those points. Then you're going to rotate around to room 3, and you're going to be on Tatooine shooting Womp Rats.
Okay.
The Tusken Raider toys. There's going to be the Sandcrawler. There's going to be Jawas, the Landspeeder. You're going to it's all the fun toys that we had as a kid, or at least I had as a kid, that you're going to be shooting at. Followed by room 4, you're going to be transported to Hoth with the AT-ATs or AT-ATs, whichever one you want to call it. You're going to have the Wampa toy, the Tauntaun toy, the Snow Speeders. All those you're going to be shooting for points, just like the Toy Story Mania ride. Room 5 is going to be indoor with speeder bikes. You're going to have the Ewok play set that's going to be right there front and center. You're going to have Ewok toys, all that fun stuff, stormtroopers. And then 6 will be our Death Star space battle with all the Kenner ships. You're going to have TIE fighters, TIE bombers, X-wings, Y-wings, B-wings, all flying around, getting your points. And then, of course, you'll get to the last screen where it tallies up your points for your prizes, just like on Toy Story Mania. You're not going to be getting beavers or rabbits or whatever. On this one, it goes Stormtrooper first because Stormtroopers miss a lot. So it's going to be going to be the first prize. Then an Ewok because they're cute, you know. Then we're going to go. These are all classic Kenner toys. We're going to go Hammerhead. That's what I called him when I was a kid. Prune Face. You guys remember Prune Face? No, probably not.
He had him in there.
Dreads or something on the back.
He had like the eye patch. I have him in here, I think.
He had like hair in the back.
Yeah, I think so. But they called him Prune Face because he looked like a prune.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Let's see. I know I have him. Yeah, here he is.
Was he on Dick Tracy?
There he is.
Oh no, I don't know him.
Yeah, that's Prune Face. That's one of the weird Kenner toys or action figures they brought out for Star Wars, and everybody's like, "Who is this guy? Like, who is this?" So of course he's going to be in there. Then we're going to have Max Rebo as our next one, and then our top prize is, of course, the most sought after Kenner action figure, Yak Face.
Yak Face. Okay.
That one's the most expensive one I think there is. Maybe.
Wow.
Or most sought after, anyways. So there we go. So that's the ride. That's my Toy Story Mania.
Wow.
Kenner vintage.
Ryan goes into a lot of detail.
I do.
I don't go into all that detail. I don't do that.
No.
One of my dreams, which I'm 45, so it'll never be reached at this point, was Disney Imagineering. It was always a dream of mine.
Keep putting it out in the universe. You never know, man.
I'm going to keep putting it out because
manifest that.
I would love to just work for Disney one day. Maybe when I'm older, the kids are gone, we'll move to Orlando and I'll work for the parks. I mean, I just love it. But I love making rides. That's one of the reasons we started this show. So that's my ride. I'm sure all of our rides are going to be fun and great. So hopefully nobody copied that one. You guys got your own. Oh, good. Well, there we go. Yay. So who would like to go next? Oh, thank you.
That was good. You brought visuals, man. That was good.
Yeah, I brought visuals. Yeah.
I'll go next. I'll go next because mine is not as detailed as yours. I do like.
No one's ever is. Don't worry.
That's right. No one can live up to Ryan.
So good at this game.
Yeah, because I also thought about it. The reason I'm going next is because I had the same idea of keeping it toysy.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't go as deep as you. I was like, yeah, no, the Kenner toys and all that stuff, like that's on point. My ride didn't really have them as toys in the ride, but toy props, like you said, going through. I don't want to take anything you said, but I just envisioned instead of Green Army Men, it's Stormtroopers and it's the toys just all around.
Yeah.
But I kept it more kind of like Toy Story ride, and the blasters you have, they still look like Toy Story because in each room they change to something else.
Yeah.
So I kind of had it like the first room is it turns into a blaster because you're shooting the battle droids from the prequels.
Yeah.
So it's that, you know, and it's more, and it's animated like it was in the films, but it's really funny, right? Whatever they want to do, battle droids running around, you hitting them, you know, the bigger battle droids with bigger machines cost, you know, you get more points. So that would be one room. And the other room, I like what you said. I was using the two because you got to have Endor. Yeah. So, and so now you can shoot and get different weapons that the Ewoks use. So on Endor, you're only using the weapons the Ewoks would use.
Yeah. Oh.
So that gives you something like Toy Story Mania when you have the loops and you're shooting rings and different things. So in that room, you know, you got rocks, you got bolos with, you know, the spin and all this kind of stuff. So now you have Ewok weapons and you're shooting stormtroopers in the woods and that whatever comedy you animate in there. And on Tatooine, the same thing. You got to shoot womp rats.
Yeah,
things that pop up in Tatooine. And I didn't go through all 5 rooms, but my other room finally would be the trench run to blow up the Death Star. So
Ooh.
going along the trench, and this is a mission that they didn't know, but you're helping Luke because there are other cannons you're trying to take out. So he's trying to take out big cannons, but there's also little cannons along the trench.
Yeah.
And you can hear him, and he's like, flying through, and you're following him, and you're taking out cannons so he can go and finish off the Death Star. So,
cool.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
So you just had in this ride, your shooting weapon changes to whatever it pertains to.
That's cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
You could almost make a whole ride just out of the trench run as a game too. That'd be really cool. I mean, they've made that game before.
That's true. Yeah. So, but yeah, not as deep, Ryan. But yours is pretty cool. I can see like shooting toys and toys coming out. That's just genius. I think it's such nostalgia. People just go in there and cry, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I can see all the jokes of the toys. Like, I'm sure toys had like, maybe the secret is that prototype Boba Fett that shot his thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's all white. All the secrets that can be put in there, and all the jokes, and what you get points if you shoot this one. This this AT-AT would always fall over because it couldn't stand up right. Like all that stuff.
That's awesome. Yes.
So that's mine.
I love it.
Very good.
All right. So Derek said he wanted to go last, so I'm going to go next.
All right.
Uh-oh. What do you got for us?
So there's going to be some similarities, but the name of mine is called Stormtrooper Training Academy, because we all know that the Stormtroopers are the worst shooters, right? Yeah. So they need to train. So your job is to take part in the training as a Stormtrooper. Captain Phasma is in the queue. She's asking if anybody's seen FN 2187 or whatever, and spouting off propaganda about the Empire or the New Order, I guess, the First Order, not the New Order, the First Order, and the inside is maybe looks like a dreadnought or something like that. But I kind of went back and forth. Could it be toys? It could be Stormtrooper toys. It could be toys on the screen. But the idea is you've got these different scenes. The first one, maybe it's Leia's ship, and it gets dark, and I apologize, but you've got Rebel Alliance soldiers, and you're shooting them as they kind of peek out from the corners and stuff, and there's droids that going by the screen, and you're shooting them, and maybe the next one is Tatooine, so still going to Tatooine on mine as well, but Tusken Raiders, they're jumping out, and you're shooting at them. Droids again, and Landspeeders going across. We have to have Landspeeders, of course, Rontos and Banthas, and then indoor. So we're still using indoor, and Ewoks, and one thing we haven't talked about is the 3D element of this, really. Maybe we're attacking them, so they're shooting the rocks at us, and it's coming right at your face, and then maybe there's rebels on speeder bikes going across, and you're trying to shoot them, and of course the weapon is a blaster. Maybe it's the same mechanics, but it's still a blaster. And then another scene could be a Death Star. And I went between two different ways to do it. So either it's outside, like you're looking outside and you see X-Wings and Y-Wings and bombers and all that going by and you're shooting at them. Or maybe you're inside the Death Star and you see Luke and Leia and Han Solo and Chewie and all the droids and everything, you're shooting at them because again you're trying to hit them. And then it is dark. I know but it's funny. And then
I killed Chewie.
That's right.
Mom, I killed 57 Ewoks in there.
At the end of the ride, you always have 0 points because you didn't hit anything. Everybody has
right.
0
You miss
points.
it all. That's right. The last room could be crate. I try to keep it across the universe of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
So maybe crate, and you've got resistance soldiers. Maybe not crystal foxes. Maybe there's just crystals.
Oh no!
You don't want to shoot animals.
Let's go kill those. Oh,
So maybe there's crystals that are coming across because you have to have that one part where it's easy, where you've got the thing in the front, and you're just going tick, 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 you're hitting the stuff and getting all the points at the end. Maybe these are the crystals that are coming up, and so. But I went ahead and did the store as well, the gift shop. You gotta have a gift shop.
Okay.
But maybe there's stormtrooper parts. People want to cosplay, as stormtroopers. There's pieces there. There's blasters, shirts, and there's toys, of course, and
Dead
action
Ewoks.
figures, and all that fun stuff. And dead Ewoks, yes.
Jeez Louise.
Adrian, I want you to explain what the shirt, because you said it's Stormtrooper Academy.
Okay.
Right? So explain to me, what kind of shirt am I going to get? Tell me
There we go.
what kind of shirt? Stormtrooper Academy. What's it look like?
Yeah, maybe one shirt could just be like a poster that is like a propaganda, or just like join us today, kind of thing, like an Uncle Sam kind of thing, or something like that. Or maybe it's stormtroopers shooting at targets, and of course they're missing.
And it says, "Missed you. Wish you were here."
Oh man, perfect.
And wish you were here as a target.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. No,
I would buy that shirt right now.
Maybe we should make that.
We
put
need
it on
to
our
make
shop.
that. I'll write it down. Yeah.
Put it on the
shop
IMD
that we've never
shop.
opened. Yes.
Yeah.
Missed you.
You
Wish
put it on
you
the
were here.
IMD. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah. That was good.
I like
Great.
it.
Nice, I like it.
All right. So here we go. So it's no mystery that I'm a huge fan of the Black Spire Outpost book. It's one of my top favorite Star Wars books. And that's because one of my favorite characters is Vi. I think Vi Marati is such an amazing character. And so I wanted to go back again to making this about Batuu, because this is what started us really wanting to expand Batuu and Galaxy's Edge. And so this ride is called the Harvest Festival. It's not Meltdown. Now I messed up. My brain farted. Anyway, so we'll say Meltdown because I forgot what my word was. But it takes place during the Harvest Festival on Batuu.
Okay.
And one of the great things about the Harvest Festival is that Oga is really involved in this. Oga with her crime syndicate and her cantina and all this. So as you're going through the queue, Mr. Potato Head is now replaced with Oga. You get to see Oga, and she's a pretty scary looking person. And so you're getting here, but it's a celebration. So you get in your ride vehicle and you're going through, and the first two rooms are like playing almost like carnival games, but in Batuu, like that kind of style, that feel, and you're in the festival. But at the end of the second room, as you're playing these games, all of a sudden the stormtroopers start coming in the background, and it becomes a real fight. And Vi comes in and she helps you to navigate and to fight and to hide yourself through the streets and fight against the stormtroopers in the First Order. So then every room it escalates. So the third room, you're fighting the stormtroopers. And then the fourth room is when the ships start to land and Kylo Ren's getting off his ship. And now you're having to fight all of his guards, and you're having to fight all of the better characters. And the final room is you're basically with Vi fighting Kylo Ren. And then depending on your score is whether you beat Kylo Ren or whether you have to retreat and you have to do the ride again and try to, it's kind of like the Millennium Falcon where you got to return the canisters and you have these things. But my whole goal with that is actually push Galaxy's Edge into that ride. And so you have more land to go in there, and they could easily theme the outside to also make that work. And it just builds on the characters they already have, and they already worked so hard in that land, and just giving them more roles.
Wow.
So that's my idea.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Nice. I like it. That's really cool. What really got me, everybody, first of all, everybody got something, especially somebody who's at Disney, and I know, like, I don't know the formula, but I know enough about the formula. So everybody had something that got me really excited. So Derek, you got me really excited when you said you're playing carnival games in Batuu. Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
For you, Katrin, I was like, the shirts. I was like, the shirts are going to be really cool. Academy, because we had Jedi Training Academy. Like, those shirts are unique.
Yeah.
And Ryan, the action figures, like animating them and shooting them is going to be hilarious. But I liked, like you said, traveling and seeing more of Batuu.
Yeah.
And then also they're so like, especially like how the marketplace, the merchandise you buy is supposed to look like they're made by villagers. So I can only imagine how they would take regular carnival games and Star Wars them and make them, not only that, make them look like something on Batuu as well.
Yeah. And that's what I kind of figured. And then if you had that, you could almost take the street vendors and start adding some of those actual games.
Yeah.
And then you can almost bring in that aspect where, kind of like in Animal Kingdom, in Dinosaur Land, where you're playing the carnival games, but now you're in Star Wars and people are paying more money and they have these different experiences, but it would be so fun. But yeah, I would love to like expand and get more people's ideas on what carnival games would look like in Batuu.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's cool. And I like the idea of moving through Batuu. I mean, we see Batuu, we see Black Spire Outpost on Smuggler's Run. But we don't get to see. It would be cool to see Galma, Pika, Sarabat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody there, I think already. Everybody's from a place. So I'm from Galma. My character is from Galma. And each place is like Sarabat is kind of farmland. Pika is like rivers, fishing, and then Galma is like Manhattan. It's like real gritty. It's almost like it'll be like a gritty Coruscant, a lot of metal, a lot of that's where the droid gambling, battle droids gambling. That's where the pod racing is. All that is like that's the kind of the busy area. So I chose to be from there because I like, I'm like that's pretty cool.
That is cool. And that's why I love that book so much, because they just build on everything that's there. So obviously I went to the parks first and then read the book because Logan Sekula was like, this is the best Star Wars book. You need to read it. And I read it. And then it just like built this bigger picture in my head of like the cave systems. And if anybody out there, again, I've said this before on other episodes, if you haven't read the book, you have to read it or get the audiobook. It's incredible. And it adds all kinds of new characters, old characters, and it builds the land even bigger. So when you walk in there the next time, you're like, oh, I know why Oga's Cantina is hard to find when you're walking by.
Yeah.
That's
it's really cool. And to your point, Vi is such a strong character, and it's really cool. And like when you read the book, like you'll see when you go to the attraction, you'll see the work Vi did. Like that's there because of the work she did.
Yeah.
And the stories of how she got there, and one cool thing was, and I was never able to visualize her droid like when I was reading the book, she has a droid that's really cool. And like, I don't know what the droid looks like. I remember when I read the book and they would explain him, I knew what he looked like. But if I had to draw him right now, I don't remember. But I just wish, like I think about it now because I forgot about it. I wish I did know what that droid looked like. And I wish I could see that droid. Because I don't think it's a droid that we've seen. Is it? Do you remember, Derek? Is it?
No, it's not. And in the character, it's almost like has a little bit of that Chopper vibe.
How big is it?
Yeah.
How big is it?
It's like. Go ahead.
It's not huge. Yeah, it's not a huge droid.
Because there was.
I feel like it's protocol droid size, like C-3PO.
It's almost like in my head, it looks like Wall-E.
Okay, it's interesting. I don't know if they explain it 100%. I think they explain it just enough for what your sensibilities are that you will see it.
It wasn't the droid that they tested to be a walk around character.
I think it had legs. Am I wrong, Derek? I think it could walk. I don't think it had wheels.
Okay.
I remember. Yeah, I need to go.
They tested it. It had wheels and it would roll around and it was very unique looking, but kids would climb all over it and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to do this."
Yeah. Because this droid was supposed. Yeah, I remember seeing video. It was supposed to it was not supposed to. It moved around on its own.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool looking.
Yeah, that's too bad though, man. It's like, parents, come on.
I know.
Yeah.
Little electrode on there or something if you touch it.
Yeah.
Little Prado.
Little Prado.
Yeah.
Just being realistic. I mean, that's the way it is in Star Wars.
A
Droids have
droid
little
would do that. If a droid went to Disney, if Chopper went to Disney, they would have scored him out. I'm telling you that.
Oh yeah. I think doesn't Chopper have like the highest kill count in Star Wars? Something like that.
Listen, I saw a bumper sticker because I just started watching Rebels. Like, my wife and I are watching Rebels to get ready for Ahsoka.
Yeah,
and I saw a bumper sticker that said, "My favorite droid is a war criminal, is a wanted war criminal."
Nice.
My favorite droid is a wanted war criminal. I thought it was really funny.
That's awesome.
Well, very cool. Yeah, I think we had 4 unique rides tonight, attractions. I love every one
versions
of them.
of the attraction.
Yeah,
I thought it was wonderful. Mark, I could listen to you tell stories all night long, but I know it's late. Real quick before we go, just remember, I Am Geek Shop on Etsy for all your, if you light or Kyber crystal needs. If you have a Savi's lightsaber, I've got many ones on there. You can check out. I sort of sponsor ourselves, right?
That's
right. My latest ones are very limited Indiana Jones crystals to celebrate Indiana
Isle of
Jones.
Destiny.
Yeah, so I've got the idol.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it's a Kyber crystal, and then I have the stone from Temple of Doom.
Sankara stone. Oh man!
Yeah, and then the Grail from.
Oh my goodness!
And they all work in the Savis.
What do they light up?
So this one will be yellow. The idol will be yellow. The stone will be red, and then the Grail is going to be blue.
Oh wow!
Naturally.
Naturally,
you choose what? It is the water. The water is blue.
Well, and you got the guard.
Yeah, right.
He's got that like blue shroud on him too.
But it's also the lighting in the room too, right? If you think about that scene where he's getting the cup, and it seems like it's kind of bluish in there.
Yeah,
and a little Easter egg for the blue. And Obi-Wan's voice is on there, and Obi-Wan is the club that they go to in Temple of Doom.
There you go.
What do you mean? You mean if you put it in a holocron?
Yeah.
Well, they work in holocrons too.
They work in holocron, the Savi's lightsabers, and the Sith Wayfinder.
He's a pretty fancy guy. We need to do more. You need a demo video.
You do, because I didn't know that.
If only you had a friend that does YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I've got then
out a video in a minute though.
The Star Cruiser, the Hoth Icebreaker drink. I have that one right now. I got a bunch. I got some new ones coming out. I'm working on a special one for the Halcyon. Hopefully, I can get it done and maybe bring some with me if I get to go.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, Mark, thank you for joining us tonight. If people want to check out your stuff, where can they find you online or on socials or wherever?
All right, let's talk about my socials. Very simple. You can find me on TikTok, which is a lot of fun. You find a lot of my secrets on there, and on, I guess we say X now. On Twitter, on X,
on the X,
on the X. It's LOL, the number 4, Mark Daniel, and so LOL, the number 4, Mark Daniel, or at LOL for Mark Daniel. Also, my website is markdanielcomedy.com, and my YouTube as well. LOL for Mark Daniel. I kept the same brand all the way across. So, and then Facebook, Mark M. Daniel. But they don't worry about Facebook.
Well, thank you again for joining us tonight for Chapter 10, for Episode 10. I've had a blast.
Yes.
Mark,
you are great.
You are welcome back on anytime you want to come on to Star Wars or something.
Yeah, I would love to. I want to say something really quick before I go. I'm in the process of writing a book.
Oh, cool!
And, cool. It's a unique book. I'm an avid exclusive cast member pin collector. So I have a large array of pins that normal guests don't see because they were made for cast members. So cast members are also pin traders, and they are pin trading pins. We can trade them if we want, but they're exclusive to cast members. So my book tells my story through my memorabilia and my pins. Like I'll show you this here. This is very unique. This is a cast member name tag pin, but it was made by Rebus Brothers. It's a crystal.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they made it a couple of years, and you get your name. But these are now discontinued. You can't if you only could get them when they made them. So this is official Walt Disney World name tag for cast. Well, you know, it's an ornament, but it was made exclusively for cast members.
That's cool.
So, but yeah, so I tell my career through exclusive cast memorabilia. So I'm pretty excited.
Wow. That's really
so I'd love to, when I get that book done, I'd love to come on the show if I can.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Plug it.
Yeah. When do you think it'll come out?
I'm hoping that I was trying to get it done by my 30th anniversary, which was last month, or this year, but probably next year.
Yeah.
So I got to double down.
Oh, cool.
So, and I haven't told anybody that. So this is
exclusive.
Ooh,
exclusive.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again for joining us, and then listeners, watchers on YouTube. If you see Mark in the park, tell him hello.
Mark in the park.
Mark in the park.
Usually Park Smart.
Yeah, tell him hello and thank him for everything that he does to make the magic happen at the Disney parks. Thank you again, Mark. This has been Chapter 10 of Living with the Landspeeder, and we'll see you next time with something new, another attraction to StarWarsify. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.